So we are live quickly once again. I've literally just finished up my SmackDown reaction stream, and as I was literally talking about SmackDown on the SmackDown reaction stream, we got the news through that on Dynamite, former WWE Superstar Andrade has made his AEW debut. He has officially, I guess, signed, maybe, we don't know, with All Elite Wrestling. What we do know is that Andrade has appeared on AEW Dynamite tonight. I have just watched the segment, so I've literally just, and full disclosure, as we're streaming right now live, obviously Dynamite is still ongoing, so we could see a situation, of course, we could see a situation where something else does happen later on in the show. We'll have to wait and see. What is interesting, though, is that over the course of the last couple of days, whilst Andrade has actually been celebrating with Charlotte Flair, he's been on holiday, he's been on vacation with Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair, and both families have been vacationing together, and they spoke about celebrating good news. Now, people didn't know what this good news was. Andrade tweeted a photo of the happy couple on yesterday, along with the following caption, quote, "Let's celebrate the good news. I love you, #Mammy, and you look pretty, #Queen." Now, almost instantly, fans speculated on if Charlotte Flair was pregnant or if the couple had actually set a wedding date. They had got engaged on New Year's Eve of 2020. So there was lots of discussion about that. Well, I guess we now know what the good news was, is that Andrade was set to make his AEW debut. That was the good news. Now, Andrade, of course, is scheduled to face AEW World Champion Kenny Omega at Triple Mania on August 14, with AEW World Champion Kenny Omega's AAA Mega Championship on the line. So that is certainly interesting. But what a way to kick off. What a way to have a massive segment on the post Double or Nothing show. That was Andrade. Now, obviously, there was lots of discussion. We'll get into the segment in a second, but there was lots of discussion previously that possibly Andrade was going to be maybe the mystery 21st entrant in the casino battle royale at Double or Nothing, and obviously that wasn't the case. It was Lio Rush in the end who was the Joker, and looking back on it, probably the right call, I would probably think, because you have to realize that that plan was never to have the Joker win that match. If the Joker was never going to win that match, there was no real point, was there? There was no real point of having Andrade in there to come into a match that he was going to lose. Andrade is a guy that everyone knows the talent that he's got. There's no doubt about the talent that Andrade has. Everyone knows the talent he has. People can talk about him not being used to, the greatest potential in WWE. This was a guy that in NXT had a ton of potential, and people were very excited to see what he could do on the main roster. I think it's interesting that obviously he's been paired with Vickie Guerrero, because I think that's a good call. There's no doubt that Andrade probably does need a mouthpiece. Whilst he can speak English, and his command of the English language has actually improved significantly over the course of however long he's been in the United States, ever since he signed with NXT back in, when was that, 2016, 2015, something like that. It has greatly improved, and there's stories of Andrade actually attending media days, purely just to do interviews, just to get the reps in, just to improve his command of the English language. So he can speak English fine, but maybe, as you heard, because he did come out and cut a promo tonight on Dynamite, it still benefits him probably to have a mouthpiece. And look, AEW has a good use of managers, of legends as in managerial roles, whether it is Vickie Guerrero, whether it's Jake the Snake Roberts, whether it's Arn Anderson, whether it's Tully Blanchard, whether it's even Sting as a mentor figure for Darby Allin. They use legends and managers, or coaches as they like to call them, in a very good way. So Andrade is going to be managed by Vickie Guerrero. So former WWE Superstar Andrade, now going by Andrade El Idolo, made his debut this week on AEW Friday Night Dynamite on TNT. Now, his debut happened after Vickie Guerrero interrupted Mark Henry's segment. Mark Henry teased that he could have another match inside of an AEW ring when he said he had a lot left in the tank. Guerrero then interrupted and told Mark Henry and Tony Schiavone to get out of the ring before introducing Andrade. She said that she had signed Andrade El Idolo, which again, this is what his new name post WWE will go to be. Andrade walked out. To be honest, it did fall slightly flat in the sense that Vickie Guerrero, you kind of forget, because we haven't really seen Vickie Guerrero that much on television, certainly on Dynamite. We might have seen her on Dark if you watch Dark or Dark Elevation, because she is the manager for Nyla Rose, but we haven't seen a ton of her on Dynamite. And you do forget, especially with a live crowd there, like they do have tonight for Dynamite, especially when they have that live crowd in attendance. when she starts talking, when she starts screaming, excuse me, and all that kind of stuff, and all of that craziness, you forget, don't you? You forget that she gets heat. She gets real heat. People boo. It's difficult to hear her. It genuinely is difficult to hear her. So she says, I want to introduce one of the most talented pro wrestlers alive today, former champion wherever he's been, because he has been. He's been a champion in WWE, CMLL, also in New Japan Pro Wrestling, former IWGP Intercontinental Champion, all of that kind of stuff. You're thinking, wow, wow, wow. So she introduces him and goes, Andrade, our Idolo, and the crowd, because they're booing her so loudly, they don't really hear what she says. They're like, what? And Excalibur and Jim Ross have to kind of, on commentary, go, did she just say what I thought she just said, and all that kind of stuff? And then out comes Andrade to no entrance music, by the way. No entrance music, no graphics or anything like that, which is certainly interesting. Out comes Andrade, and then the crowd, then the big pop comes, then it goes crazy. Then I was doing my SmackDown stream, and suddenly everything just flies up, and it's like, oh gosh, Andrade is now on AEW. It's crazy. So he comes to the ring, walks to the ring, talks about being the new face of AEW, and then kind of walks off. So we didn't see, a ton of what the plans are. We're recording this or streaming this. It will obviously, if you watch it later on after Dynamite, it will be recorded by that point. But we don't know what the situation is with Andrade right now. What I did think I would do is just give my kind of immediate reaction as to while it's going on. We'll do a full breakdown of everything tomorrow. I would assume we might see something, again, this could pop up on social media at any points at this period, but either at the end of the show, when it says Andrade, El Idolo is All Elite, they do the classic, he has signed a deal. Obviously, we'll probably get some information when it comes to Tony Khan. We'll probably get some information by the people that are very close to AEW, certainly like the likes of Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer. If it's an AEW news story, they're all over it because they have ties with Tony Khan. I would expect Sean Ross Sapp to also report this as well, as to if an agreement has been reached. It's not surprising, obviously. Reports about Andrade talking to AEW came out a couple of weeks ago, certainly, and they said that Andrade was talking to AEW. The expectation, I guess, always was that he would go to AEW. I don't think, obviously, he's going to be exclusive. We know he's working Triple Mania against Kenny Omega. I think there's kind of the expectation that he probably will win that match against Kenny Omega at Triple Mania and win the AAA Mega Championship, considering that Kenny Omega's held that for, a real long time at this point. A real long time. When did he win that? Is it like 2 years ago or something ridiculous? He's held it for ages. So I wouldn't be surprised if Andrade wins that at Triple Mania. I would assume that Andrade, in the same vein that I think the Lucha Brothers have that deal where they can work AAA events and work AEW events, I would assume it's probably a situation where he signed a deal that he's exclusive to AEW in the United States. Andrade's deal is with AEW in the United States. If Andrade's working in the United States, he works for AEW. He can work AAA in Mexico. He can work for New Japan in Japan. And maybe he can even work an Impact Day if he really wanted to, because they have the working relationship. That's what I assume this would be like. Again, I don't know. We'll find out more about it in the coming hours and certainly days. Again, Vickie Guerrero with Andrade is a real interesting one. Obviously, like I said, I think the mouthpiece is smart, but also I guess you look at the pedigree of Vickie Guerrero. Look at the last name, Guerrero. Andrade, obviously, with his Mexican heritage, Mexican background, being a Mexican pro wrestler, idolizes Eddie Guerrero. He's spoken about his idolization of Eddie Guerrero and said if he could face one person, it would be Eddie Guerrero. And being managed by Vickie Guerrero, irrespective of almost the Guerrero name, is a ton of credibility. Vickie Guerrero at one point in time, certainly in WWE, was one of the most over heels in the company. People hate her. People hate her voice. She's got this voice about her. She's got this presence about her. And it's going to be interesting because obviously Zelina Vega and Vickie Guerrero are completely different people. They're completely different entities, aren't they? Certainly different entities. So that's going to be fascinating. That's going to be fascinating to see how that happens. And look, again, we'll find out. We'll find out what this means. Obviously, what it does mean is that Andrade is now in AEW. Obviously, again, the talks about what was going to happen. The talks about Andrade and AEW were ongoing for a while. Obviously, maybe it's a bit surprising that it didn't happen sooner. Of course, Andrade was officially released, granted his release from WWE at the beginning of March, during the Fastlane pay-per-view, or just after the Fastlane pay-per-view back in March. He had been unhappy with WWE for a while. He'd been off television for a while. He had requested his release previously. They rejected it. About a week or so later, he had his release granted. For whatever reason, he wasn't subject to the traditional 90-day non-compete clause. He had none, so he could go anywhere he wanted, hence why he was announced for the Triple Mania show, hence why he's able to show up in AEW tonight. So certainly that is interesting, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see more reaction to this. I can just see on social media right now that people are reacting in terms of inside of the industry, already reacting to Andrade making his AEW debut. We've got the likes of Buddy Murphy pointing out the fist bump, which of course is in reference to Andrade. We're also seeing Charlotte Flair talking about clapping, and there we go. So AEW have literally just posted the tweet that I was talking about now. This is what's great when you're live. You can literally just react to this as it's in real time. So AEW has tweeted, quote, "Welcome to the team. Andrade, our Idolo, is all elite. Tune into AEW Dynamite now on TNT Drama." So they have confirmed Andrade is officially all elite. Andrade has signed with AEW, and again, the finer details of this contract we'll find out. One would assume, and again, this is just speculation on my point, we will be doing a video probably tomorrow. It is like 4 a.m. in the morning over here in the UK, but it's dedication is what it is. We will be doing a video tomorrow breaking this down further. Again, if I had to guess and I had to speculate, I would assume that it's probably a case of like we've seen with other wrestlers, specifically like the Lucha Brothers from Mexico, in the sense that the US exclusive rights to Andrade, if you will, are with AEW. He can appear for AAA, as he will for Triple Mania. He can appear for New Japan in Japan, but if he's wrestling in the United States, he wrestles for AEW. So massive, massive signing for AEW. But look, I'm going to jump off here, go back on to watching Dynamite. We will break this down way, way more in depth and a ton more reaction to it tomorrow, but I just wanted to give my immediate reaction. Andrade, our Idolo, is officially all elite. He has signed with AEW. So look, guys, thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, smash a like on the like button, and I'll speak to you again